Okay, so look, Avatar 2, The Way of Water, it came. It's a movie. It's a long movie. Most guys know my review of it. Just to sort of break it down briefly, I think the best, I think the best and fairest overview I could come up with, and you can correct me if you think otherwise on this,
Mm.
Paulie, is that, if you liked the first one, you'll like this movie. I think that's pretty much a guarantee, although I have seen some people say otherwise. I think also, if you like 3D, you'll like the 3D in this one. If you're not fussed on either of those things, I think you may struggle with this movie, basically. And I think that's as fair as I could possibly be without diving into my personal opinions of it outside of, a sort of a broad review. I mean, do you agree or disagree with that? Because obviously you've liked it, you've seen it, but do you think that's probably about right?
Well, that's about right. I saw it on 3D IMAX, and
So did
I
I, just as an FYI, yeah.
yeah. So I was with two people that seen it on 2D and then 3D
Mm,
IMAX. It's like there's no comparison. You need to see it in 3D IMAX.
yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, cool. And so yeah, so what did you think about you loved the movie? Tell me your opinion of it. What did you think? Give me your review, I guess.
Well, I did an out of the theater review. We had a couple other people there, and I paid for my ticket. That's important to note.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
It's an IMAX 3D prime time that Thursday evening,
yeah.
and had great seats. Yeah, I I had a ball. I was immersed. I was in it. I was in it so
Mm.
much that I was caring about the little kids and their little journeys.
Oh, interesting.
I'm one of those guys that I can watch. There literally was one of the kids just like with a whale and like riding the fin and learning how to
Mm.
bond with the whale for like what, a half hour.
That's a
I
long time.
loved it.
All
you know,
right. Okay.
yeah, I mean, because uh, again, I went in there to be entertained, and not expecting a Shakespearean story and complex
Mm.
characters. Yeah, the story's thin, the dialogue's kind of lame here and there. Um,
Kinda.
well, listen, I'm giving you my. I know how you feel.
I'm chipping in
Um,
here as well. Get
That
in
being
there.
said, I thought the themes were, I love this theme of this man trying to do the best. Well, this Navi guy, Jake Sully,
Mm.
trying to be the best father he could be,
Yeah.
and its challenges. I thought in those challenges were very small, like dealing with internal, conflicts of the brothers to the kids, to them being bullied, going to another town, so to speak, to
Yeah.
another totally different, people.
It's almost
I
like a
thought the whole
hemisphere,
different,
isn't it?
yeah, I thought the whole thing with the different tone of Navi, like as far as a skin tone,
Mm.
that was I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh,
Well,
and
they're
then it's
basically
kind of like,
Maori, aren't they? Because they did the hacker.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they're
that's
basically
right.
Maori.
So they're kind of like judging each other. I mean, I thought it was cool, and of course, for me, the uh, the technology and the look and feel of it was just outstanding. I had a ball. I did take two breaks.
Did
I am an older.
you?
I'm 52. I had to go potty
Yeah.
twice.
Okay. Interesting. But
Hmm.
you don't feel like you missed anything in those two
No,
breaks.
no. See that, and that could be good or bad, right?
I was about to
Um,
say, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, there's those films that you can put on and nod off to and come back and still be entertained, like you felt like you didn't miss anything. Fellowship of the Rings, that comes to mind for me.
Oh
Um,
no, really?
yeah,
Fellowship of the Ring. I don't know if I want to fall asleep during Fellowship of the Ring. There's a lot going on in that movie.
there there is. I think there is a lot going on in this movie. But what I'm saying is that I kind of felt the beat of that scene. And not back to Avatar too,
Mm,
of that kind of like the storytelling. I was like, okay, this is the end of this kind of like, montage. They've arrived at the new place. All right, now's a good time for me to go, potty break and come back. And I didn't, I didn't felt I'm sure I did miss some stuff, but you gotta go, you gotta go.
True.
So yeah, and Cameron has always been an environmentalist. He's been big on that. He's always put it in his movies. Yeah, I don't think at all. I don't feel I was ever lectured to. I was entertained.
Yeah.
What else? I think this would be great for fathers and sons to watch. But particular age of sons, not too young. Obviously, there's some death in this, which I was like, I liked. And then some of the action scenes were kick ass.
Sadist.
Right.
There's some death and I loved it. Yeah. Paulie's review of Avatar.
But
okay, interesting. That is interesting. So
I'm going back. We're gonna go back next week because we're traveling to see a family, and we have a niece and nephew who we're all hanging out with for the week, and they're like young teenagers. Perfect. Let's go. Let's all go watch it.
Okay. Interesting. I found it boring. I found it overlong. I found it indulgent to its detriment. You could easily chop out 40 minutes of this film and it would be telling the same story. It would have the same impact. It would be the same story over and over, through and through. I also thought the effects weren't actually that good. The effects of the motion capture were great. The motion capture, the Na'vi motion capture, brilliant. Absolutely second to none. The scenes where it's fully CGI were incredibly weak and genuinely felt like a video game cutscene. Where we got that start scene. It's in the trailer, one of the trailers, where the humans are coming down in the robots and they're like, all the flames again, and they've got the big bulldozer and things like that. That looked like a video game cutscene. That looked awful. For a movie, I mean, that was real bad. I have genuinely seen better graphics in a video game than that. And so I don't deny you that the effects are brilliant, but I would, under the caveat that when it's the motion capture, I think the motion capture was where the effects were good. Outside of that, I thought they lacked quite a lot and what it is that it's not that the effects are bad, but it's that the standard is good, right? The standard for visual effects, because we've seen it. We see it all the time. I mean, you look at one of the better examples, I guess, more recently, like trailers for like Dead Space, the remaster. You got the trailers for Callisto Protocol. Name literally whatever video game that's a AAA product coming out now. The trailer for that has visual effects CG, which is equal, if not better, than some of the fully CGI creations in this film. And so I think when your film essentially sinks or swims on VFX, because to me the story is weak, and also to some people it's weak, but your selling point is the visuals and the immersion. I think you really have to nail that. And I think having that sort of CGI cutscene stuff, not so good. Personally.
I was sold on it all. I could go back and sure, I wasn't looking for it. That's the thing, right?
Okay.
So I could go back and look for it, and I'm sure I'll find it, right? Like those things that you said. I think you can do that with most entertainment.
Absolutely can. Absolutely can.
What I was surprised was the strong emphasis on Sully's family. We're all Sully's. Whether he made the best decisions or the mom did, that's I think that's to move along the story. I thought it has a great cliffhanger for the next movie. Like I want to see the next one right away.
Do you think that was a cliffhanger? I thought that was pretty weak ending. What did you think the
there's so many unanswered questions. There's so many unanswered questions.
But is that good storytelling? If they don't wrap things up. I mean,
we'll see when everything is told. I mean, I think that's why he's had all these stories all together.
I know, but 3 hours 10 minutes, you'd think you'd wrap at least one plot thread up, you know? Like just for argument's sake, right? Loads of people love the third act. They love it. They think it's amazing. Mm-hmm. Did you like the third act?
Yes.
Okay, right. So you think it's amazing. They're all flying in on their new fish monster creatures, yeah? They're riding, they're warriors, yeah? You got the whale coming in, smashing stuff up. Great, yeah?
Right.
Where'd they all go?
Where did all the warriors and the whales go?
They disappeared.
Oh, God, you know what? That's the thing, is that they disappeared because you start.
They fucking vanished. They literally vanished.
Well, it's not that they vanished. Is that
no, they did. Story? They're in one scene, and then in the next, they're gone.
Hold on. The story went to back to our main characters, and they all had just amazing challenges just to stay alive. That was awesome. That was awesome. So
that doesn't answer.
Well, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
They disappeared. They literally vanished from the screen.
Yeah, but it doesn't. For me, it didn't ruin the story and the action.
Did it not? I was genuinely like, where are all these warriors? Why is it now just Jake dealing with it when all these warriors were there? I was like, where have they gone?
Yeah, listen, I'm sure I could. I'm going to go back and see it again. And this time, so okay, let me compare to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I went in there with Black Panther wanting to be entertained. I wanted to like that film a lot. I had a lot, riding on it with the channel and all that stuff. Just because I want some great achievement, great portrayals.
Yeah.
I was not entertained at all during Black Panther. During the first viewing of it. So then my eye started looking for all the ridiculousness right away, because I was not enjoying myself.
So this is
right?
This goes to something I say about all movies, is that all movies have plot holes. It's whether the film is entertaining enough for you to overlook those plot holes. And for me, it's a huge plot hole that there was an entire island community raging towards this boat, and then they all just disappear, just vanish, because I wasn't that entertained. It wasn't that entertaining of a movie for me. They literally, they are there. 1 second they are there. They're all there. There's quite a lot of them. There's a lot there. And then the next, they're all gone. They've just disappeared. Poof, gone. And I was like, what? What's going on here?
I think my point was that I was trying to, I just wanted to finish up with Wakanda, was that I had a chance to go back and see big portions of that movie again, because I was waiting for other films to start. And I saw about 40 minutes of Wakanda again, and I was like, God, I was right. This was, this is god awful storytelling. Terrible. Like I just didn't have that experience with Avatar. I just didn't.
I wonder. I wonder now, having some of these things said, maybe you'll notice it. Like the opening CGI, maybe you'll see that, and I don't know.
Between all you guys complaining in my ear that I'm crazy.
No, I want you to like it. I wanted to like this film, despite what most people, contrary to popular belief. I always, regardless of what I talk about on the lead up to a film, I always review a film as it is on its own merit. And there are videos of me going, no, I was wrong here, like this. I mean, we spent a little while talking about Wednesday here on this podcast show as well. And I watched that and I was like, I bloody love this show. This is great. Like, I'm more than happy. I want to review it as it is and just enjoy it. And I don't think anyone wants to sit there for basically 4 hours all in, right? About 3.5, 4-ish hours, because it's 3 hours, 10 minutes plus some trailers. No one wants to sit there for that long, not enjoying it. It's just ridiculous. So no, I want to enjoy every single film, and so I'm happy that you enjoyed it personally, because
I loved it.
I wouldn't wish anyone have a bad movie going experience. It's a waste of time and money at the end of the day. But I'm curious what you thought of the. So you say that the special effects are so good, right? My we speak about the special effects themselves, spoken about that. But personally, for me, I found and it goes in with the special effects. But I found the frame rate situation really quite jarring. It made me feel quite nauseous. And as we watched it on the same format, IMAX 3D, I wonder if you had the same thing. So they had 24 frames a second on most things, but then when characters are moving fast and in action, they ramp it right up to 48 frames a second. And I found it nauseating. I actually had to look away from the screen several times because I found it hurt my eyes a little bit. It made me feel quite uncomfortable, somewhat painful. But I wonder if you had the same experience, or
I
it didn't
didn't.
affect you in any way.
No, it didn't affect me in any way. I did have that experience with the Jungle Cruise, the third act. I thought
Oh.
that got just that made me and Romy, we were watching Jungle Cruise, same theater, IMAX, the whole thing. That gave us a headache. No. Back to Avatar. I did not. I wasn't bored. So those 3 hours with my little breaks went by really well for me.
Well, you had little breaks, didn't you? That's why.
Yeah. Not long ones, but
Well, I don't want to assume, okay? I don't know. I don't know what you've been doing on those breaks.
I had one quick one, and then I had one where I went to the restroom and then I stocked up again on popcorn.
I see. I should have done that. I should have got extra popcorn.
Yeah. And the crowd was in
Okay.
it, man. The crowd was loving it.
See, my crowd, I'd love to see the demographic breakdown of the countries that love this, because so I watched this Sunday at 8 p.m. On an IMAX screen. It's the only IMAX screen within probably like a 2-hour radius, right? So it's the only one really that's around for quite a while, with various quite large towns around, with substantial amount of people living in those towns. When I was talking small towns, we're talking like 10s, 20s, 50,000 people. And I just walked in on the day, just booked it. It wasn't full by any stretch of the imagination. I could just turn up, and I paid for a ticket there and then. But my theatre, there was genuinely people, because I was getting really annoyed. Because again, I try and focus on the movie, and I want my experience to be as good as possible, so I enjoy it as much as possible. So I stock up on food, I stock up on drink and stuff, so I'm in a good mood. But there was someone to the right of me. It was this old couple, and they kept fucking shuffling around, and you could hear them tutting away because they thought it was going to be over, and they're sighing away. And I'm like, for God, can you shut up? Like, it's a long film, okay? Just check your watch. You'll know when it's about to end, okay? Just check your watch. Don't keep tutting.
Oh, that's awful.
But I wonder, it was awful. It was awful. It was really annoying.
I hate when other people ruin it for you in the theater.
Well, the thing is, but then it ended, and I've heard, obviously the predominant audience base that I have is American, and I've heard from commenters on my channel that they had like standing ovations, people clapped, people whooped and hollered. There was just dead silence in my theater. People just getting up and walking out. No one was like woo. There wasn't even really any conversation. People were just got up and walked out. It was. Oh, no, sorry. There were two young girls in front of me, and I heard them say as they got out the door, they're like, "That was a fucking long film." And again, I thought to myself, "Well, yeah, obviously. Why'd you go see it, you idiot? Do you not check the runtime?"
Probably not.
But I was just like,
probably not. Time is a different thing for younger people, definitely.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But I wonder if it's Americans that mainly enjoy this movie. I wonder if the demographic breakdown of enjoyment is geographical, I'd be really curious to. So what do you think is the score? Because I thought that was really underwhelming. I thought if you got a John Williams, I said in my review, if you got John Williams to come and do the score, you'd be like, yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, it went unnoticed for me. So
see, I think a score should be a character.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, other things were characters for me, like the technology and all the new, the new creatures and stuff like that. I gotta tell you, I was very moved with the children learning how to swim and all that. Like that little mid part was just so amazing. And I got to think there was music there that served it well.
Yeah, I think there was some sort of operatic,
Yeah.
dramatic sort of
But it wasn't like
rising stuff.
it was like Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, uh, Elvis, the new Elvis movie, RRR, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Those scores are just on another level. I
Yeah, I
mean,
always think a good score is a character in and unto itself. Like it makes you feel stuff and it resonates with you. And that's actually what I thought was lacking from Dune as well. I didn't that score didn't feel it that much. In fairness, I got
It was
lambasted for saying
interesting.
that, but I was like, didn't.
Right.
It was fine. It just could have
It
been
was
better.
like sounds and stuff, right? Effects.
Yeah, for a film
Right.
that was so cinematically beautiful, the score should have matched. But anyway, I digress away from Avatar. Let's get back to it.
No, that's actually part of of our reviews. Is like musically, how was it? How was the score? I again, what did we take away from it? It was just, for me, Cameron's the man. I just thought he killed it. I thought he did a great job, and I can't wait to see the next one.
Do you not think? Do you not think that they could have cut some runtime out and it been the same movie though?
Yeah, it could have been cut a little bit for sure. I mean,
so then, do you not think that what we saw should have been the director's cut, released on Blu-ray?
That's a good idea. And if you're gonna do that, right, these long movies where they're past 2 hours and 45 minutes, you need to start having an intermission. The formula, I go back to Indian cinema only because this year I've been watching a lot of it in theaters. They have intermissions at every 1 hour and 20-minute mark, and then it's the second half will be a little shorter, and it just makes sense. Plus, you get more money. The theater makes more money too.
Well, yeah, because and they say theaters dying and they need more money, so that does make sense. So okay, so
I think Nate is roboting. Well, he is. He's frozen. See if he comes back. All right, he's not back yet.
Wait, I'm back. I am back. It's just taking a little while. Pain in the ass. This will be fixed, by the way, ladies and gents. I've got it fixed coming up on Wednesday. It should be fixed. Just as a heads up to everyone. So this will all be resolved. It's not what I want to do, trust me. But anyway, so obviously, we're opposed on this, right? Like, I understand that.
So opposed. I oppose you, sir.
That's fine. I accept. I accept your opinion. This is the thing. Like I don't want anyone to not like the film, but equally so, I don't want to be told that you can't dislike it yourself. I think a good open discourse is important, and it just makes for a much more interesting conversation, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not like an echo chamber at the very least.
It'd be one thing if it was just a panel all shitting on it, or just a panel all loving on it. It's boring.
Oh, for goodness sake, what is going on?
Oh, is it
piece of shit?
Did you freeze again?
I did, yeah, briefly.
It's the Wokosos are coming after you, man.
That's it, Wokosos. Yeah, sons of bitches. Okay, so that's fine. So I don't think there's anything I'm going to be able to say. Like, I'm not trying to sway your opinion, right? That's not what I want. I'm not trying to do that. But I think
I like to hear like why people don't like it. Absolutely, that's that was the same thing that me and Mexican Iron Man got when we vehemently hated Wakanda Forever. We got a lot of pushback from several communities. Why did like, I even had like friends of mine like text me, "What's up? Why didn't you like it? What happened?"
Because it's crap.
Yeah. So yeah.
Weak.
Yeah.
But I think anything that I say will actually be something that you enjoy. So for me, you obviously liked the story, right? for me, I thought it was too thin, and I don't think I don't think a film that is 3 hours 10 minutes has the right to have such a thin story, or contrary to that, or further to that, sorry, have such a thin story was also not because it's 3 hours 10 minutes, not wrapping up plot elements. Like that whale,
Well, I just
you said you so yourself. We spent about 30 minutes with that whale, him getting to know that whale and being like, "Oh, I'm your
love that
friend,"
whale. What was
and
his
he even
name?
got in it. I don't know,
Oh,
but he even got
so
in a
cool.
hissy fit with his dad about it. He almost got thrown out of the new tribe, all this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't get any consolation for that whale. The whale came at the end, saved everyone's life, and not saved everyone's life, but you came in.
He came
We didn't
in
see
and he
anyone.
was a
It wasn't
hero. That was the
vindicated.
consolation. That was his payoff.
But it
He was an
wasn't
outcast.
vindicated. Wasn't
He
shown.
was now
The only thing that was shown at the end
to his
was
boy.
the Sullys.
That's all that mattered. Was his?
But it's not.
No. To the whale, that's all that mattered was saving his friend, saving the guy, the son that he was connected to. I thought it was beautiful.
But don't you think?
Also, too, you're saying that the story, it was thin on story. I think it was thin on kind of the lots have. I understand when people are saying it's thin on story. I even just said it's thin on story, and the dialogue's a little.
I mean, what is the story? The story is humans come back. New reason for being there. They come back. There's another fight. It's the same. That's the same story as the first one. There's more people and more avatars. Humans. They're now learning to be avatars again, like the first one. So there's even shot for shot scenes like the first one with him, Quattrich grabbing one of those flying beasties, right? Like shot for shot the same. And there's elements which are a literal retread from the first one, whilst not furthering it elsewhere, except for, of course, the new water stuff. But a lot of that was the same. So it was, well, these people now need to learn to mount a new beast. It's like, okay, but it's the same thing. You're just learning to mount a beast. But we saw that. What are we learning that's new here? Nothing. There wasn't much movement further forward aside from those kind of retreading elements. And the things which were moved forward weren't elaborated on. So Kiri, or whatever her name was, Kitty Kiri, Sigourney Weaver's character, that went nowhere aside from the culmination of the film being how she used that to save everyone, right? But it still went. It still didn't go anywhere. So and they spent quite a large focus of the film on it, whilst not sort of consolidating that into a coherent point. So it's the point of there's even a massive fight because of it, right?
So everything you just said is true, as far as.
But you didn't mind it.
Wait, hold on. No. Like, you. In regards to the big paintbrush strokes of the story of this part 2, right? You knew humans were going to come back, and there's no resolution there. In fact, it's probably going to be more. There's probably going to be more of a conflict moving forward. Now, I completely disagree with you in that nothing is happening, because so much happens with each family member. Each family member has a journey that we all get invested in. Every single one. I got invested in every single kid, and every single kid had a challenge and rose to it, and we got there. I don't want to spoil it because I think it's really good. And like I said, being a father and a mother, they had their own different set of challenges. Now, it's intimate storytelling in a sense that you don't expect in this sweeping, fantasy, but I thought it was incredible. I thought there was so much going on with those relationships. So, in the big scope of things, they run and hide, and they're going to they're going to catch up to them. But while that big world thing is on pause, here's all the stuff that happens. I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying that's what I got.
No,
out
I
of it.
know. Well, we're not trying
You
to
know,
convince each other, right?
right?
We're just
Every
conveying our
little,
point.
yeah. Because you say,
It's
you know,
interesting.
because you
So,
said like nothing happens, and it's like, yes and no. You're
well,
right. We can, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, mhm.
the plot elements which move those things on,
Well,
which
the
what
big
you're
ones,
referring to,
the big ones,
but
right?
but the
Mhm.
vehicle for that story to unfold is the same as the first movie. So
It's a
I agree with you.
continuation. It's a
No, but
continuation, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but
There's a little more. There's
it
a
is a
little more to
continuation.
that.
But
There's a little
yeah,
more
well,
to it,
yeah. I mean, obviously, it's broad strokes here. Like, you know,
you know. But I really,
end
again,
up with like a 9 hour stream here to talk about this. But
yeah, well, it's a 3 hour
it's
movie.
definitely yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, it is.
I mean, just take every kid and just take the kids. Like I thought, you know, oh, this is not
I
for
found them
me.
really fucking annoying.
That's
Like,
what kids are.
yeah, I know.
That's a,
I know they're
that.
annoying. I don't want to watch 3 hours of them going, bro, cuz, family. Like, I don't.
Well,
I don't want to watch
it
that. I'd
wasn't
go
just
watch
that.
Fast and
Come on,
Furious.
it
No, that
wasn't
was the
just that.
predominant wording in
It
this
wasn't just
film.
that. No, there was a lot more to that. You know, to that
Oh,
language of kids, to the behavior, their adolescence, you know, their rejection of authority. No, it was fantastic. I
but
loved
their
it.
dialogue to one another, and they are a focus of the film. Their dialogue to one another was, "Bro, cuz." That was what they kept saying to one another.
Listen. Again, I wasn't looking for that. So up until you got, you know, you and there's a couple other
I
streams
can't wait for
that
you to
were
watch it again and see whether you're like, oh my
complaining
god,
about it,
bro,
but it didn't take
cuz,
away.
bro,
What I'm saying
cuz.
is that it didn't take anything away from me watching it.
No, exactly, because you're entertained, right? So you're not honing in on these things. I wasn't entertained, so I'm like, I'm listening and I hear bro, and I'm like, what the fuck are you saying bro for? One, it's set in the future, so that sort of dialect shouldn't be there anyway. I understand that they're like, well, you know, it's Navi, and so it's not a clear-cut translation to English, etc. I liked how they built that into the story. It was a really quick element. It was, I just hear it and it's just like English now, right? Cool, fine. I like that. It's a quick way to. It's like in Prey, right? When they were dealing with the Comanches, and they just speak English, but then, you know, we hear it outside of that. They're sort of hearing the French, and they obviously hear the Comanche. We're hearing it in French. Does that make sense? Like, it's a smart way of doing it in universe. Oh, we just hear it. Cool, no worries, fine. I like that, but it's set in the future. Like, set in the future. I don't want to hear bro and cuz, right? People keep laud. The thing is, you can't have it two ways. You can't sit there and say James Cameron's the bestest of all time. He's fucking amazing, and jerk him off and say he's great, whilst also saying, what do you expect him to do? Come up with some language for the future? Yeah, I do. If you're going to sit there and say he's amazing and it's a justified 3.5 hours and he's the best and he can make a story that's paper thin and you're all going to love it and suck it up, yeah, I do expect him to come up with some language that is not so jarring and so current for a film set in the future in a sci-fi world. I don't think that's much to expect if you're going to sit there and claim that he's amazing.
Can we just take
You
a
might
break
say otherwise.
real fast? We have almost 300 people in the chat, but not even 200 likes. Can y'all hit the like right now, bruh? That'd be really good, cuz
you build up family if you did that.
It's all about family. Again, the modern language was there in Avatar with Sully. It was continued. It didn't ruin it for me. If anything,
No,
I
I know,
noticed
'cause
that
you're
he said
entertained.
Jesus
I get it.
Christ a couple times. I'm like, oh,
Did
okay,
he?
that's interesting.
Notice that.
Yeah, I did notice that. Like one
Oh, I
time
didn't
he
notice
said that. I
that.
think he was complaining about something. He's like, Jesus Christ.
Oh.
You know, there's been modern language in Aliens. You know, the Marines, the way they talk to each other. I mean, Vasquez's first line to Drax when they're checking out Sigourney Weaver, Vasquez says, hey, look, in Spanish, she says, hey, look, Snow White. I'm like, that's such a 20th century reference.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, all right, that's cool. I'm cool with it. It didn't, it was funny. I was cool with this language. I had no problem with that. I think when you have a problem with the language, it speaks to something else that you're just, like the runtime, like you're bored, like you're just not enjoying
Well, I'm not
it.
entertained, so I'm
You're not
picking up on
entertained.
stuff, aren't I? Right?
Yeah.
Which
Hey,
is
listen, you're
still
totally
valid because other people will be
absolutely.
picking up on that and going, you know what? And I wonder again, now having mentioned it, whether that's something that maybe it comes out to you now, when you watch again. I mean, personally, I won't watch this movie again. I've got no reason to watch it. Well, I don't have a. But no, it just as an FYI, I've got to.
Listen.
It is very rare for me to watch any movie again in the cinema. It's so rare. I only did it twice for Joker 1 year, and then I think I did it. I wanted to do it again for Ford versus Ferrari, but I didn't have a chance because we went into lockdown and all that kind of shit.
Great film.
So it's very rare. So that's not an unusual thing. By the way, me saying I won't watch this movie again, it's very rare for me to watch a movie again, unless it's like a legacy film that I really enjoy and I sort of keep going back to, or one I'm watching with friends, at home and sort of seeing what their opinion is of it. Which I actually did with Hellraiser recently with a friend of mine that hadn't seen it.
How about Top Gun? Did you see Top Gun twice? What, in the theater?
No, I only saw that once in the theater. I didn't. I liked that film. I liked it a lot. Thought it was a really good film. Didn't have a need to watch that twice in the theater though.
I mean, you could say that was kind of thin on a story.
No, it is.
It's pretty simple. It's just very entertaining.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it's a simple story. You are sort of dealing with multiple facets to that, though, aren't you? So you're dealing with the mission at hand. You're dealing with Tom Cruise's sort of interpersonal drama with the Air Forces and his sort of inability
being obsolete.
Being obsolete, and that sort of old, and that's self-referential to him as an actor in his career, going through a resurgence as well, which is quite, when you look at it like that, it's actually quite deep. But then also you're dealing with the repercussions of the first movie and the death, and obviously how that affects the interpersonal relationships moving forward, and in relation to the mission at hand. So it is, but also isn't to me, I guess. Which I guess
same here.
Is the same.
And that's how I feel about Avatar. And that's how I feel about Avatar too.
Yeah. I just didn't like it. I just honestly thought it was a bit poo. It was boring.
You know what? That's fine, man.
No, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm honestly glad you enjoyed it.
I don't think it made it did not make my top 5 movies of the year.
I was going to say, is it movie of the year for you? Because some people are like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. I'm like, really? You need to watch more films.
It's up there, but I had my 5 cemented. I know Robert Meyer Burnett put it at number 2 on his list. He had a great list.
Sorry, it was number 2 on Meyer Burnett's list.
Yeah,
I'd love to pick his brains on why.
Yeah, we should have him.
What was number 1?
His number 1 was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay, a good choice.
So was film critic Rosa Parra. That was her number 1. Mine was RRR. Everything Everywhere All at Once was my number 3. We all had Top Gun on our list.
That was a great film.
3 of the 4 of us. Cameron Pasha did not have it. Cameron had Elvis as number 1. I loved Elvis. That's a great flick. So yeah, he had it at Robert Meyer had it at number 2. And I gave it an honorable mention because it just blew me away, and I just seen it too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not. It's. I think with these films, do I watch them again? Do I share them with family members? Do I take them? And I'm definitely going to do with Avatar. I've done that with all the films in my top 5. I mean, Pinocchio, I saw it in the theater. During the closing credits, I was crying, and I called my dad and I called my mom. I mean, it's so amazing how Guillermo
in the closing credits that people are annoyed with you getting your phone out.
Right. I was like, Actually, I was the only one that stayed. Jokers.
Uh,
People leave quick. They don't like that.
they could have all overheard your conversation. You see,
No,
they missed out.
I'm embellishing. I walked out and I called. Yeah, Elvis did shock me. I couldn't believe how good Elvis was, and that soundtrack is
Yeah,
killer. What they did with the music.
yeah, that's a film I unfortunately, yeah, just didn't get around to see.
Oh,
Wasn't top of my agenda.
It's on HBO Max.
You don't have well, I don't have HBO Max here anyway. I've got other means to watch bits and pieces like that. Okay, all right, interesting stuff then. Interesting stuff.
Have we done?
And
now
so, what
with
did you think
Avatar?
of the? No. So, what did you think of the 3D? Do you think the 3D was a good use of 3D? Because I still don't like 3D. I've never liked 3D. And I said in my review that I think, Avatar 1 gave the best 3D experience you probably could have. But to me, it still doesn't justify sitting there with a stupid pair of glasses on, being uncomfortable on your nose. I just don't see the. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see the appeal to 3D overall. I've never seen the appeal. And I also found, again, going back to the, I don't know if you felt this, because some people responded in the comments to this, was that I had to look dead straight on at the screen, because if I moved my head ever so slightly, it would be quite blurry. The screen was blurry. So even like 10 degrees, 5 degrees, something like this, a slight tilt of the head, just looking slightly off center. I couldn't dart my eyes around the image, basically. I had to kind of move my head and look at the image specifically. Otherwise, it was all blurry. Did you find that, or did you not notice it? You're probably something you didn't notice, in fairness.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem. I loved the 3D. I thought it was so cool, man. Again, especially when they're underwater. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record. I don't care. It was gorgeous. It was amazing. So cool. It made Wakanda Forever underwater scenes look like Wakaka Forever. It looked like, caca water. It looked like dirty shit.
Oh,
water.
yeah. Like Wakanda Forever's water scenes were terrible.
Terrible. This was just, it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. So yeah, the 3D was killer.
Sorry. But do you like 3D anyway?
Yeah, I do.
Right, well, there you go then. My point stands.
But I know when but I know when, like, that didn't need to be in 3D. Like Ghost Jungle Cruise, no. Gravity,
yeah.
Certain films. Yeah, this one.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Like the Star Wars movies, it did not need to see those in 3D. That was just such a waste of money.
Oh, goodness me, why would you do that?
Wow.